Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane, joined by myself and Eileen. What is up, Eileen?
Hey, not much. I'm back. Good to be back.
Yeah, but you picked up a little cold on your flight, I guess.
Of course. I have a little head cold from the flight back, which I'm glad I got it this direction instead of that direction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Don't want to ruin the whole trip with a cold.
Oh, I know. And flying with a cold's really hard. It's painful. And there were a few people sniffling around the ashram too, but not too many. And if they were like sitting somewhere, I'd go sit somewhere else.
That's funny. My daughter just said that. She goes, I went into the doctor's appointment with the newborn and I sat down, or I was about to sit down, and you know, this other kid that was coughing, he had a mask on and stuff, but they sat right next to him. She goes, I was like, oh my God, why would you sit right next to me? And so she picked the baby up and went across the waiting room, you know. But it's like there was nobody else really in the waiting room. It's like, why would they weren't even like considerate enough to think about that, you know. But
I think she did the right thing, because a lot of people feel social anxiety and they're like, oh, I'm too embarrassed to move. They'll know I'm moving because they're coughing. But, you know, if you got a baby in your arms, you just got to get up and move across the room, because you never know. They could even have the flu or something like that instead of a head cold, you know.
Definitely. She did the right thing.
She did, definitely. Baby first.
Exactly. So we're going to actually do the solar plexus meditation at the end of this show.
Yeah, because I'm sniffling and my voice is cracking a little bit, and it would get tough during a meditation. I know it would just like, I'd have to go on silent often, and that would like break the flow.
Yeah. So let's talk about the ashram. For anybody that's missed last week, you definitely need to go check it out, because she gave us this wonderful tour, and it was awesome. I loved it. It was a great episode.
Thank you.
I couldn't believe how much you were able to produce and do while you were there. I wish I could do more, because I'm just running around like crazy on these trips. I was like, that inspired me to do better on my next trip.
Oh, thank you. I just had spotty Wi-Fi, so it took like an hour to download to you and upload to YouTube for you. Like a 15-minute video would take like an hour from the ashram, but that's okay.
Yeah,
because
but you did all the editing right on your phone, right?
I did all the editing on a free program called KindMaster right on my phone.
That's amazing. I need to get that on my phone, because it's like a bigger deal to sort of move the files from my phone onto the laptop and then find a place with Wi-Fi, and you know. So it's a bigger deal. That's why I typically don't do anything. But maybe if I had something like that on my phone, then I could just do some quick editing. I wouldn't have to move the videos over there first and all of that. I could just do it right there.
I'm going to share the KindMaster app with you, but I don't know if you have Android. I have an Android. Do you have an Android?
Yeah, I'm not an iPhone person.
Me neither. We're in the same phone camp. But anyway, I never produced anything on my laptop. I wouldn't know the first step. I do everything on my phone from my channel, because it's so simple. It's such simple editing. Just cut and remove sound and overlay pictures, right? Once you can do that.
I went to school for media arts and animation, so I have like all of these from like, it's old now. It's like CS5 or Adobe CS5 now. They've probably got 5 new versions since then or whatever, but I've still got all those programs on my computer, and I bought them. You know, it was like hundreds of dollars for all of these programs. So I just, as I upgrade my computer, I'll move them over and, you know, to the new one. Yeah, and use them. So it's just easier to use what I was taught to learn, or taught to use. So
then you'll have animated graphics, which you kind of do. Like you've created all your backgrounds.
Yeah,
they're all special.
Like the little subscribe that comes out with a little finger on it and all that.
Yeah, I've seen
the intro with the squares coming into the pyramid and all that stuff. So.
Yep.
Even the one with the cubicles and all the little families in it and stuff. So I've had some fun with it over the, I could do a lot more.
Animate stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like to find just some free videos that are longer than 26 seconds long, because they're free on Pixabay. but they're 20 seconds long, so the loop is too obvious. But I
Right.
think people buy those. I think you subscribe to places where they give you, like, 3-minute videos of cool geometric patterns, like, kaleidoscoping in and out and around.
That's so funny because I was just looking into getting they've got fractal generators where you can,
Ooh.
like, there was one that you can put your name into it and see what a fractal of your name looks like. You know,
Oh, I want to do it.
it's not the letters, it's just, I guess they
The
probably use
pattern.
gematria and the numbers, what the value is. It looks nothing like your name, is what I'm saying. It's just a unique pattern that is created from whatever the number value of the letters in your name is. You
Oh,
know,
I'd
so
love to see that. That would be so much fun to see
yeah, I need to.
what it looks like.
Yeah, I'd actually watched the video and then they had a link under that, so chances of me finding it again are very good because I went through all these videos. I'm like, there's got to be one that,
I've
because
never seen one like that. When I was researching the 40 Days and 40 Nights Manifestation Key book that you got to read, maybe did you get to read most of it because it's short while you
oh
were
yeah, yeah, I read the whole
laying it
thing.
out and doing the
Mm-hmm.
cover, which is
Yeah,
awesome. Can I show people your cover again?
yeah, definitely.
Because I
Let me go
got a
full
bunch of
screen.
covers. I decided to go matte because when we did color shiny, it changed it, and I was so used to your reds and golds instead of browns and olives.
Yeah, that
Um
is strange how it changes the color, isn't it?
yeah, just by adding some shine to it. Maybe
Yeah.
it's in the printing, it's the Amazon printers that do that. Because they can print one book. Like, you could sell one book a year, and Amazon would print that book out and mail it for like $15. So I imagine their printers are like, I don't know, they just can do one book at a time
That's amazing, isn't it?
and bind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And make it look like a real book. It looks pretty solid. But anyway, the gematria for the number 4, which is in the 4 pillars of many secret societies and ancient societies, and the 4 cardinal signs, north, south, east, west, the 4 elements, what else? The 4 quarters of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the gematria for 4 is I am, and 8
Mm. That's cool.
and life.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really cool that those turned out to be 4s.
it really is. Yeah, I found
Yeah.
all the beginning of the book fascinating when you look into 40 and 4 and how often it comes up in different things, and sort of surprised how much it comes up in the Bible even.
Gosh,
It seemed like the
it's
main source for
loaded.
40, wasn't it?
Yeah, for the Bible's the main source for 40. But then it kind of wanders into Near Eastern religions like Hinduism and
Mm-hmm.
Sikhism, and a little bit in China, definitely in Islam, and in what's the Hebrew religion?
Uh, uh, Judaism.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Judaism. Yep. So it kind of goes east a little bit too, which is interesting because the 3 magi from Jesus's birth were from the east. You know that old
Right.
Christmas song, "We Three
Oh
Kings
yeah.
from Orient Are"? They're from the
Mm-hmm.
Orient.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing how, and it's all played out in the stars as well. That's what's even more amazing
Yeah,
when you look into, just the astronomy, I guess it would be, and how they all point at, I guess that's on Christmas, isn't it? I think that's why we celebrate Christmas on that day is because that's when it's pointed at Venus or whatever, and
something like
the
that.
three belt stars of Orion or something. I
Yep.
don't know.
And they think that maybe that big bright star that shepherds were following to Jesus might have been Venus.
Right.
But then if you watch Thunderbolt's project on YouTube, they think Venus is a trapped comet anyway.
Really?
Yeah. And
Wonder why they would
Saturn is
think
a
that.
failed sun.
Hmm.
Like, there's some evidence in the electric universe
Right.
that Venus came later and got trapped.
Well, Venus actually looks like a ball when you look through it.
Does it?
It's yeah. So I don't know. I guess it could be a big snowball trapped out there or
Don't
something. Who
know.
knows?
I don't know. Yeah, if you go way back in their videos a couple of years, you'll see, was Venus a comet that got trapped as a planet? Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, I love looking at the stars and everything, and they do seem to like Venus has definitely gotten brighter over the years.
Oh, it's
For me,
super
anyway.
bright right now. It's like
Yeah.
crazy bright. And from Paradise Island, which is just off of New Providence Island, which is where their capital, NASA, is. So you fly in and out of there, and then it's like a 5-minute boat ride to
Right.
the other island. It's the only way to get to the ashram. There are more stars. Not only are there more stars at night, there is no trailing.
Oh, okay.
Because I watched for it and there's none, and I didn't know why. It's almost like it'd be pointless to do it there because the winds are so high all the time. The trees are blowing, the clouds are moving, the waves are crashing. You'd have to do it like 100 more times than you would by me, where it's inland
Right.
and still.
That's funny that you stopped yourself from saying that. Did you get a chance to listen to the live stream at all?
I did. I listened to last night's love stream all
Oh,
morning with coffee.
okay. Well, you know how I actually mentioned my sister getting hold of me and telling me about the show on Netflix, and I mentioned like a slew of stuff. I was totally right. When I got off, I had this yellow little emblem on there, and I was like, had to be that.
Demonetized.
Boom, boom.
Boom,
So
boom. And they
I
use
told
the
them to
word
do.
demon in demonetized. It's even worse.
So I went ahead and told them to review it because I think if they review it and it tells them right where to look, they'll say I was just talking about a show and it wasn't like, it wasn't anything. But
I usually pass my reviews too, and then a human. I guess we get demonized. Oops, am I allowed to say that?
I don't
We'll
know.
find out
We'll
by
find
a
out.
computer, by a bot, an
Yeah.
AI, an artificial intelligence that isn't
Yeah.
that intelligent. And then a human goes back and listens to it and goes, oh, all right.
And I think, because something like think about it, that was like over 2 hours long, and so
Yeah,
I know they don't have to listen to the whole thing. So whatever the algorithm is, probably says at such and such number, they say something
they
that
said
triggers
the
it. So,
words.
right, so
The words.
they'll know to listen to that little spot. They'll hear them. And they'll hear me crack a joke about them listening to it and then let it go through.
So funny. But we're used to it, aren't we? So let's
Yeah.
see other topics that won't get dinged. We can say dinged. They don't know what dinged means. We have to make up our own
Language,
language.
lingo. Yeah.
Yep. What else at the ashram? Oh man, it was just so peaceful. How many places can you go for free in the world now where they will put you in a tent with a comfy bed, a bathroom, and give you food?
Yeah.
No. So if people really want to go and it's not in their budget because of other things or, life, children,
Right.
whatever, you can go. It's not a volunteer program. It's called Karma Yogi. You become a Karma Yogi. So when I went there, I thought Karma Yogi was doing yoga to release karma. And they were laughing at me and they said, no, we're all karma yogis here. We come here and we work for free so that we can
Mm.
stay here. They work 6 hours a day pretty early because the first sat song's from 8 to 10, which is singing, prayer, meditation, 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours at night. That's 4 hours of communal singing, prayer, and each sat song has a 30-minute meditation. Silence,
Wow.
no music, no words.
Wow.
30 minutes of silence. And when you're with like 200 to 400 people in an outdoor,
Oh, it's that many?
yeah, when you're
Oh,
with that
wow.
many people and you're all like, squished in but comfortable, it's so much easier to meditate and be silent in your mind for 30 minutes. They tell you to focus on om, om with your breath. Om,
Mm.
with your in breath or your out breath, just say om in your mind, and then you can let it go and your mind will be still. And then when you start thinking about breakfast and bills, om, om in your head, right?
Right. Well,
And
how
then
many people start snoring or have to get up and go to the bathroom or anything like that? How much?
not many, but at the end, they don't have to stay because they have to get up at 4, I think, or 6. So, yeah, for the 6 o'clock satsang, most people are getting up at 4. I'm like, what? I guess yogis are early birds.
Uh,
And they get to leave early. So at the nighttime one, which is 8 to 10, they can leave at 9 if they want once they've done the prayers and the meditation and the singing. They don't have to stay and listen to the guests. They have guest speakers. So lots of guest speakers. In fact, I have been invited back to give a workshop on,
wow.
yeah, 40 days and 40 nights.
Awesome.
And they want me to do the Mandela Effect workshop as soon as I actually work one out because I haven't worked one out yet. on my part of the book, on my, I noticed that
Right.
you on your presentation, you pretty much presented a lot of that material in your part of the book as well,
Actually, I was. It was like I kind of picked up where I left off and kind of got more into the messages instead of, That's
instead
why.
of just the Bible changes and stuff.
So yeah. So I
But
mean,
your
I
personal
talked about
experience.
some of them, but yeah, it was more about like where the book we go into the actual Mandela effect and the changes and what might be causing it and things like that. Or in the presentation, I wanted to take it to what they were telling me and the sort of the messages I picked up from it. So.
Well, not to put more on your plate, Mr. Robinson, um, but we can edit that book at any time because of the platform it's on. So if you ever want to add a short section on the map or a
Hmm.
short section on what the messages are to me,
Hmm.
even if it's like 3 pages, you can go in and add it to the manuscript on the computer and then
Hmm.
re-upload it anytime.
Right.
You can update it anytime, which is kind of cool that you can do that to a book.
Yeah.
Can't
Have
do that if you
revised
print out
versions and stuff.
10,000 copies. Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yay, Eileen, Karen's saying.
Hi, Karen.
Yeah,
Thank
they do
you.
that at ESETI too, she's saying. Yeah, there's like
Really?
a program that you can go and,
Eddie Seti?
yeah, for the volunteers.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
like Joyce and, like, Joyce is the one that actually did the biofield tuning on me for a while. She's actually a viewer that went to ESETI.
I didn't know that. I know
Yeah.
I saw a handful of volunteers doing media, doing the videos for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So there are
Yeah.
a few places left. So at the ashram, Shivananda Ashram in the
Mm-hmm.
Bahamas, you can go as a volunteer, and they'll give you 6 hours a day in the kitchen, the office, the gardening. Lots of beautiful grounds for gardening. Easy gardening, not hard.
Couldn't hitchhike. You couldn't hitchhike there though, could you?
You could hitchhike to Fort Lauderdale, and then you're going to have to catch a boat or a plane to the Bahamas. But Bahamas Air is $75. So it's a propeller plane,
Oh
and your
wow.
seat is like 10 inches wide. It's a tiny plane, but it's comfy. I
It's like
went
when my
there.
sister flew me from here down to Atlanta and stuff. She goes, "Oh, I already got you the ticket and everything." I get there and it's like the plane is so small. It's like it's the width of like a school bus, and I'm like,
Yes.
not even that wide because it had one seat on my side and two seats on the other side, and then room for an aisle down there. So I was like, what have you got me on? This little
What
prop
have you
plane was.
put me on? A little crop duster plane, boing, 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 right through all the turbulence.
I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, they do get pretty small.
Well,
That's for
this
sure.
plane has two seats on either side, so it's a hair wider than the school bus plane, but it was comfy. It was really good,
Right.
and it was so once you get there, your food is covered. It's all vegetarian. They don't allow any meat on the grounds, but they
Hmm.
do have milk and bread and yogurt and no cheese, but they have butter.
But that's separate too. You said right? They
They
keep it
keep it in a
separate.
separate section for people who just want vegetarian vegetables.
Hmm.
And fruit is given out at you can buy it in the little boutique if you want something in between the 2 meals a day because they're big. And fruit is given out at the temple after worship and singing and meditating because it's been blessed, and then you can eat the fruit on the way out.
But sometimes they have blessed cookies. Now I want some of these blessed
I
cookies.
know I had some. We had New Year's celebration on my last sat song. Oh my gosh, they rolled out the cookies, the brownies, the chocolate pudding. Everything was chocolate for being special. I don't know, because they just don't really do sugar there,
Right.
like we do, And I was like, wow, this is so healthy. Did I lose any weight? No. Apparently, vegetables are carbs. And if you eat a lot of vegetables, you're not going to lose any weight.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it wasn't didn't get really hot there, huh?
No, it was about it got up to 80. It was about 75 during the day, 65 at night, perfect temperature, for sleeping in a beach hut on a beach, but it did have an air conditioner. So we did turn it on a couple of times when our like facial products melted and the
Oh.
creams were now liquid. We thought, "Oh, it must be getting pretty hot in here."
Yeah, it was probably actually hotter in there than outside where you have that ocean breeze, right?
That breeze, wow, it's
Yeah.
strong. And then there's yoga twice a day for 2 hours, 2 hours of yoga in the morning and the afternoon. 4 hours of singing, praying, and meditating. And then special guests can't come and do workshops twice a day and in the evening. It's like going to Yogi University. Yep.
Yeah, because it sounds like after the meditation and the yoga and the eating, you don't really have much time left, do you?
You don't have much time left. So I played hooky a lot. If you're volunteering, they want you to do as much as possible. But since I was a guest and I paid for my room, they said, we hope you will participate and do as
Right,
much as possible, because I don't want people just going there for a cheap beach holiday, right?
right.
So I would, get up and have breakfast, and then I would do a 12 o'clock workshop, and then I would do maybe a workshop in the afternoon and the satsang at night. I do quite a bit, but not as much as my friend Evelyn did. She got up at 5:30 every morning and ran to the 6 a.m. satsang.
Wow.
Yeah, she didn't want to miss it. I'm like, I'd rather sleep than meditate. I'm going to be meditating deeply.
What did you see any kind of cool stuff at night in the sky or like
Yeah, only stars. I didn't see any
no craft or
UFOs. Nope, no
shooting
craft,
stars?
no shooting stars. I got to be honest, after the first 3 days when we were there for 8 nights, when I finally settled in, I'd be asleep by midnight. And
Mm,
usually I do my stargazing between like 10 and 2 a.m.,
right.
and go take the dogs for a walk at midnight. But since everything's on an early schedule, I
Hmm.
didn't do as much stargazing as I would
It's
have
same
liked.
time zone, right?
Same time zone, yeah,
Yeah.
as me, as the Eastern.
Hmm. So I'm wondering if, because it seems like I think it would be right now. It's early morning when the Milky Way comes into view, I
Oh,
believe.
so
So,
when it comes into view, because I could see so many more stars on
hmm,
that island than I can see from Florida.
I never get to see it from here, so I don't know. But maybe you guys can chime in if you live somewhere where you can see the Milky Way. I think right now it's early morning. At least that's what it was when and that was November. That I think Dark Wolf said that you got to go out early morning to see it.
Oh, to catch the arm with
Yeah,
thick,
the
full of
actual,
stars.
yeah, the
I just find it
beautiful,
hard to see stars from Florida anyway.
yeah. I never get to see the Milky Way from here. It's
And
you're lucky to.
clear skies. I mean, clear nighttime, like no halo around the moon. I saw
Right.
the moon a lot because we had a full moon over the period. We had the eclipse and we had the wolf moon. I think while we were out there or right before we went out there, and the moon was so bright and not a bit of rainbow aura. So the rainbow aura is from our
Right.
yep,
Our Charles.
our trails.
Yeah, too bright in Tulsa to see much. A lot of city lights, but even like out in the country here, it's not that great. I mean, you'll see more stars, but I tell you what, when I was on the way to Sedona
Did you see a lot?
following Carrie out there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope I don't rear end them because I couldn't stop looking out my window.
Oh,
I
you're
could see
like,
the Milky Way out the window. I'm like looking up, and I've got a sunroof.
oh.
I like open that up, and I'm like trying to watch the road and glance up at it because it was so captivating. If I was by myself, I would have stopped
You would have
again, but
stopped and looked at it.
we were just
Wasn't it
needing to get
kind
there.
of like that at Isetti? Which was better? You did both. Was it clearer at Isetti at night or clearer on the way to Sedona?
It was clear. I never saw the Milky Way, and
Okay.
I kind of expected I would. Maybe, yeah. I stayed out all night, and I never saw it up there.
So it was
So
clearer on the way to Sedona. Less
yeah. And
lights?
do you remember how it was at one point? Like it was almost like you couldn't even tell if there was a craft or something because it looked like all the stars were powering up. They were just flickering. Every star in the sky was
Yeah, like, oh,
flickering.
there's one, there's one, there's one. No, no, I
Right?
guess are those stars
Yeah.
flickering? And
Yeah.
they were definitely flickering like Cyrus.
Twinkle, twinkle, all the
Twinkle,
stars. I mean,
twinkle, all the stars. Yep. Which is so cool because remember I did that video on Cyrus that one night before you did the Mandela conference, and it was twinkling, deep blues and greens and yellows, and then
yeah,
that cross popped up, which was like the actual cross came out of it on one of the
yeah,
video shots.
yeah, yeah.
It's
It was
pretty
really beautiful.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it was definitely beautiful, but I think, just the Milky Way is just so captivating when you haven't seen it and then you do see it. I could even see the reds and stuff, like, sort of the red gaseous looking section of the Milky Way.
Oh, you can actually see. Oh, wow.
Yeah, you could actually see
That's
the.
cool.
Oh yeah.
That's like nebula where stars are
Yeah.
born, right? Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
it's so crowded
Had
in
that
there.
real nebula look to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
cool.
when I was a kid, that's how stars looked out by my sister and brother-in-law in Colorado, even in Illinois, like 45 minutes outside of Chicago, you could get some pretty good stars.
I wondered if it was because simply because here, not only the light pollution that we have here, but we're like we don't have basements here. We're just, and it's probably like that in Florida too, because you're just
No
so
basements
low.
on a coral reef. Yeah, it's like a dead coral reef we're on. It's all
Well,
sand.
so going out there and going into New Mexico and into Arizona where we were when I saw that, I think we're like 2,000 feet. That's like that much less atmosphere you're looking through. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah. You're
So
like 2,000, 3,000 feet up in the air.
exactly.
Of course. I never thought of that.
So that's a lot less. And that's why the
Yeah.
sun looks different colors at night because you're looking through at an angle and you're
Yep.
looking through way more atmosphere. And you see how it can shift the whole color of the sun because it's
Yeah.
blocking so much light. I mean, you
To
can sun
orange.
gaze then, you know?
Yep. Yeah, I do sun gazing as it's dipping down over the Gulf
Yeah,
of Mexico. And, that last 10 minutes, you can sun gaze pretty safely.
yeah.
It doesn't
And
even
it's
hurt
like
your
that.
eyes.
Yeah, tonight it was actually pretty bright though. I was like, wow, it was almost copper colored rather than orange like it
Cool.
usually is. Yeah.
Yeah. More ready orange.
Well, like a brand new shiny penny. It was just, and I
Okay.
noticed it's like that when there's fires too. It looks more of a
Oh, because of
coppery
what's in
color.
the atmosphere, huh?
Yeah. So I'm not really sure, but I do know that it was brighter. I had my sunglasses on. I was still like, wow. Normally I can look at it with ease at this time as it's going over the horizon, but same way in the morning, it's a lot easier. I mean, it's super bright because you're just waking up or whatever, but it's not like once it's above the horizon quite a bit.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and the other thing that they had was they had a famous channeler come, but I don't know him, but people in our chat room might know him. Do you guys know Paul Selig? He's a
Mm.
famous channeler, wrote like 8 books. He used to teach at Harvard and NYU, and he was a playwright, a famous playwright, and then this
Hmm.
ability, like Sherry, wasn't that cool? I love your video with Sherry channeling collective consciousness.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Beautiful, wonderful messages, so confirming and so, really resonating with our group and where we're all at and stuff.
He
Very
kind
deliberate.
of looks a little bit familiar to me, Paul
Does
Selig.
he?
But
Well, he came and he did some channeling for us at the Sat Song, and I'm like, oh, all these, Hindu priests and yogis are enjoying the channeling. How
yeah,
open-minded of them.
yeah,
They don't
yeah,
try to
that's really
convert
good.
you at any time. It's all about inner journey and inner knowledge. It's
Hmm.
not about the outward.
That'd be a good
And
job to have as a channeler. You probably get to go to all the coolest places, most laid back. I mean, like that place. I mean, if that was on his list, it's a pretty good
well,
job.
when you talk there, you gift it. You gift it to the ashram. See, I get to do the workshop as a gift. They
Right.
fly you out there and they pay for your room and your food, and they don't put you in a tent.
Oh,
So you
that's
don't have to
nice.
sleep on the ground. But you get one of the huts with a toilet, I think. I did not
Right.
have a toilet. So when we'd go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, by the time we put something on and walked out and got that wind in our face and found the steps to the main house, which is a couple of 100 years old. It's like a historic house. And got up the stairs and found the bathroom and then did all that to come back. We were wide awake. We were like, bing, our eyes are open at like 4 in the morning.
Oh my
3.
gosh, I sleepwalk a lot. I probably walk out into the ocean or something.
Yeah, go the wrong direction. You'd be right in the water because it was like right up there, you know,
Oh my
a
gosh.
few feet away. Well, about 20 feet away, 30 feet away.
Right. Well, that shot that we showed last week was right out the window, right? I mean,
Yes.
and it's right there.
It's right there. Right below us were communal picnic tables. There's communal picnic tables everywhere, and every single seat is made of wood.
Mm.
So do not expect a soft, cushy sitting experience at the ashram. Wherever you sit, it's going to be hard. You know,
Even
fair
in the
enough.
meditating, and do they have pillows or anything for?
They do for the people sitting on the floor with cross legs. And then they have a few chairs made of plastic, like plastic, chair, like
Yeah, like
you'd have
around the
about,
pool.
yeah, around the pool, plastic pool chair. And
Those are always the ones I'm afraid are going to be dry rot and crack and break on me when I sit on them. Because they
yeah,
kind of
they
flex
were
a
like
little bit, you know.
very new because people there of all sizes, shapes, and colors. So if that were true, you'd hear people crash into the ground quite often. So they must trade them out when as soon as they get a crack.
Because that sun seems like it really, you know, nowadays that sun really
The
dries
sun
that
is
plastic out, you
intense.
know. Yeah,
It really is. You need sun for the vitamin D, but you got to take, protection. And I always like the zinc based ones instead of the chemical. I
yeah.
did find out that carrot seed oil has like a factor of 20. If you mix that with your what's that, coconut oil, which has a 10,
Mm.
and if you put in raspberry seed oil, that has like a 20 to 30 factor.
But
You can
what
get
color are you going to be after all of that? That
yeah,
sounds like.
orange and red, raspberry and carrot, right? You can get natural sun protection oils on you for about up to 30
Excuse me.
without using any chemicals.
Wow. You'll
Yeah,
just be orange and red.
I think they
You'll
purify
look
them
sunburned, right?
clear. Yeah, they could make me a little orange because I'm the vampire at the pool. I'm like, where's the shade? Where's the shade? Looking for the umbrella, right? I must not go out in the sun, no.
So you actually recorded another video that we're going to
Yeah.
show. What? That's just going to look at some of the art there at the ashram, or?
Yes, they have a very famous artist from Canada. Her name is Diane Woodward.
Mm-hmm.
And she became famous by painting beautiful Hindu diva paintings, the size of humans. They're life size, they're huge. And there was a lot of protest when she started out from the Hindu community going, hey, why is this red-headed, freckled woman painting our gods and our goddesses? And now she's invited into temples in India to paint the entire wall for them. They love her, they love her work, and the ashram is full of her paintings. And
Wow.
the tour that they did was just, they put it on for us when they heard that we did the show last week. A volunteer there from originally Scotland, moved to Canada. She's 70 years old. Her name's Anne. Hello, Anne, if you're watching. She was working in the temple, and she said, have Arjuna take you on a painting tour, because then he'll tell
Mm.
you what each god does. What does that
Ooh.
god represent, and what do they do? What's their backstory?
Wow. That sounds so interesting.
Yeah, and it was too long to get them all squeezed in because that would be like a 40, 60-minute show, but we get a good selection in this next 20-minute video. And he said that some people see them as individual gods and goddesses, but most Hindus see them as aspects of God,
Mm.
as
All
opposed
right.
to a god or a goddess. They represent aspects of the divine creator.
But you can also see as everyone as being aspects of God
That
as
is the
well, right?
one. Yes, that's how we would see it, right?
Exactly, and that's why when I was going through that, talking to the collective consciousness through Sherry or whatever, a lot of times I had to sort of reword it because I'm like, well, I know we're all one, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah, that really did come through. I really love that. Sherry, that was so awesome. I can't wait to hear more.
oh yeah, she was even impressed that that it came through that way, because it for her it's she didn't remember anything.
I know Sherry well enough to know that there's certain things that a few years ago, not too long ago, she would have even disagreed with.
Oh
That's how
yeah,
unique the information is for her
oh
that's
yeah,
coming through. She'd be like, what? Did I say that?
right.
I didn't know that. Maybe I should consider that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, time and time again, stuff's come through that she goes, "Well, I know that didn't come from my subconscious."
I know. That is just so cool, which gives it kind of a pure flavor. And the wording, I
Hmm.
know how her words come with her character. And the way you were reading it, if that's the way it came out of her, that's a slightly different wording and intonation and grouping of words, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it was much slower. So the video was about 20 minutes long, and that was taken from about an hour of because it came through very slow, and some of the stuff like it would come out in a section, and like that's not worded right, and then they would reword it. It was like I don't really know how it works, but I guess it's like whatever her vocabulary is that she normally uses. If it's not adequate, then they have to dig a little deeper and reword it. It's really weird the way it comes through, but it's a long
Interesting.
process, and yeah, it's really cool though. because,
Super cool.
and that's
It,
why I felt comfortable talking about things like the Law of One with
yeah, I
us,
saw that.
because she doesn't know anything. She's never read the Law of One. She has no idea of what I'm even talking about if it's her, because she knows nothing about it. But I knew I wasn't speaking to her, so I was able to go and talk about these things that, I knew she had no idea about, because she was just being a channel for the information. So it was really cool.
I noticed a few similarities between some of the information that Sherry brought forth
Hmm.
with Paul Selig. Some of the information he brought forth
Oh wow.
at the ashram were very similar, like almost coming from the same source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that it really is the truth too. I mean, that's what Dolores Cannon would talk about. She would have a conversation with the what did she call it? She called it
She
the
first she called it the lower
su-
consciousness and then the higher. At the
I
end of
think it
where she
was
covered, she switched to higher consciousness.
higher consciousness. She always abbreviated it.
The
The SC.
LC, was it the LC?
Did she switch to LC? I think it was the SC. That's why I always think it was super
Yeah,
consciousness. But
SC, the super consciousness. And then before she passed, she said that is the higher consciousness collective, the
okay,
collective higher consciousness. Because at first she considered it the collective subconsciousness. She called it the
subconsciousness.
SC.
Right.
And yet, if you look at Freud and all the psychology experts, they say the subconscious is very basic and very primal. It's what keeps you safe
Mm-hmm.
in an accident. It gets you out of sticky situations, but
Mm-hmm.
you're aware of it. You're not aware of the subconscious. And then she switched it to higher consciousness because I think
Right.
it's higher. I think the information's quite,
Yeah, definitely.
spiritual.
Yeah, and it's like, so she would have a conversation with one person and be able to pick up the conversation with another person on the other side of the planet. And, it knew that it was picking up and continuing a conversation, and the people had no idea. So,
So this is what I wonder, and you tried to get to it with your questioning. Are we dealing with the collective human higher consciousness that we're all tapped into,
right,
right?
exactly.
Or are we dealing with something even higher than that outside of our dimension? And you kind of were asking those questions.
Right.
I
So, and that's funny that you said that, because in fact, I wanted to do another video because of that, because I was trying to get to where's the simulation? Is it all this stuff we're talking about, or
mhm.
have we covered that already? Is it within this thing? And then when I was going in over the transcripts to put it on Steam, and I was like, oh, and it hit me all at once. The simulation portion is the portion from higher self to us. It's just that section, and it said that, but I didn't really get it.
Okay, so I think I get it.
So we have this fully aware version of ourself that's this higher self version.
As
Then we're
individuals
down
or as
here.
one? As one or as
No,
individuals?
individual entities. It said it's a higher awareness of each entity. Is
Okay.
how it's something like that. Is how it said. So where we're in the game is us now in this physical matter
Yep.
is the game portion of it. The outside of that is our higher self. Our higher self isn't in the simulation. So it's the same thing as like if you sit down and you're playing The Sims, you're the higher self of the player in the game.
Right, right. You're the higher consciousness of the player that is the consciousness within the game
Exactly.
and
And then
only
the game
conscious
has
of
its
the
own
game.
its own collective
So where
consciousness.
were they? Were they in the collective consciousness of the players or were they above it? Were they
They were
outside?
above it where
Yeah.
they were outside of the game.
So can you find out if they're the collective consciousness of us outside the game in the higher consciousness? Is that
Yeah.
still us collectively?
Right. So they were above our
Maybe.
higher self, who we
But
were
are they
talking
us?
to.
Are they our higher selves
Well,
collectively? Or are they like Ra was a consciousness group and Abraham is a collective consciousness group? Is that
right.
still us?
Those are just branches coming off of the same thing. So I mean, we're all the same. We're all fractalized pieces of the logos. You know what I mean?
So
That's
are they
what's so
coming off of our collective higher consciousness? Probably.
well. They're coming off of the highest ocean of consciousness.
Where we
So
are. Are we there? Is our
yeah, our
higher
higher
self
self
there?
is. Yeah,
Okay.
we're everywhere.
Okay.
We've got our branch that goes from us in the game here all the way up through our higher self, all the way up through the super consciousness figure I'm talking to, which is part of what we're connected to.
Okay. So are they like us in the future or are they us now? Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Mm.
it just depends on how you look at it, because it's all of us right now. You know,
And if there's no
I even
time,
said
the
that.
answer to that is yes.
Right. And that's even what I said. So is it like when you look at other people, is that really us, with a different awareness of that, living that life? And, they said, yeah, that would be a great place
Yeah.
to start
Soul
seeing that
groups,
as,
soul groups. Then you get rid of soul groups and it's one soul group.
right. We're not even looking at soul groups. We're
Yeah.
looking at just individuals.
Okay, but then
So,
again, I'm questioning the hierarchy. I'm like, because in Dolores Cannon's books, we never got to exactly where does that SC reside.
right.
Didn't know. Didn't know where it resided. In all of us, outside of all of us, in another dimension.
Yeah, I think all of that's true.
Yeah. Connected to us.
Yeah.
I think we can all channel. I think we can all, I mean, I do. I believe that humans can channel. They can learn how to channel. And I think you can channel your higher consciousness, which is colored by your experiences and beliefs, or you can
Mm-hmm.
channel higher than that and get outside, a little bit outside of your personal beliefs. But then again, it is going to come through your brain, body, voice. So I don't know if it's 100% untainted, but the stuff that came through from Sherry sounded pretty untainted by Sherry's personal belief structure. Although I'm
Exactly.
sure that's all in her anyway, because it was all, I'm not saying that she doesn't believe what she was saying, but I could see where she would know that she was channeling it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She knew for sure. Yeah. It's amazing. So I feel like it's this branch coming off, and it does branch off before it gets to us into other sections and stuff, and that's where the soul groups come in. But
Only
when
to
you're
Earth
working your
or to other planets? Only to this dimension or to other dimensions? See, I'm like, where are they?
right, but when you look at it, it's like it's kind of like looking at the tree, and you're like looking at this leaf, and you're like trying to trace it back, and you're like, well, it's kind of on the one with this leaf and stuff. It
Which
doesn't really matter because it's the same tree,
it's still on the tree. Which branch is
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but we like to know, because
That is
it's part of us down here to want to separate and classify and make connections,
locate.
but it,
Locate. Yeah.
right, but in a way that's like what we're trying to get away from, in a way too, what divides us, and it's just part of us. We want to sort of cluster get together in groups, instead of being the ungroup, if you will,
Yeah. Yeah. The one, part of the one, just like the show name, the power of one. It's all of us. The power of one is all of us united.
And I really like the part where I'm like, well, is there duality where you're at or not?
Yeah. And they said,
It's observed but not experienced.
oh, see, I
Yeah.
think if we can observe duality here and not experience it by taking it in and feeling it and processing it, maybe we get to level up and we get to be those part of that given the information.
Right.
I think
So
maybe that might,
we're moving to being more becoming, like
yeah.
they said. So we're actually trying to be more of the part of us that's outside the game, the higher self aspect of
I
us.
did learn a lot in the ashram from different speakers in the Hindu tradition, which is very relatable to the Tibetan and to the what is that? The Buddhist tradition. There are a lot of
Mhm.
similarities, but there's differences too.
Mhm.
And they both came around the same time, around 500 BC. And the way they approach world peace, because I got a good session on it in a workshop, was you take care of it internally, what you've been saying all this time. You take care of it inside of you and in your reach, in your community, in your home. And you make your home and your community peaceful. That's the extension of your power. And when you see something out of your reach in the world happening that is not peaceful, that you don't agree with, you're supposed, you can, they say, do what you like. The Buddhist path would be to look at it and just transmute it through yourself with love, forgiveness, and allowance, that
Mhm.
you're not responsible for that, but you are, because you're human. So it's like not processing it personally. And the
Right.
reason, and a lot of people in the workshops were like, well, wait a minute, we got to stop these wars and we got to stop these politicians. We got to stop these bankers. Then the anger and the emotions rose, of course, because they feel they're starving people or hurting people, right? And the message that I got, that I'm probably not giving as well as they did, was that if you take care of the peace inside of you, the world will follow you. The world will reflect what's inside of you, and people will copy you, and then
And that's
people will
exactly what
copy.
came through. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that was a confirmation there too.
Oh, absolutely. And it's like that's how you build world peace, one person at a time, starting with yourself.
All right.
How beautiful is that?
Oh, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
And if everybody did that, then everyone around those situations that situation is in their sphere of influence, it would be
Now
getting
there too.
handled. Yeah.
And so on and so on. And then eventually you don't fight the negative, it eventually joins you or falls away
All right.
because it can no longer operate within the sphere of the people who are peaceful.
Right. And that's it.
You've been saying
Beautiful.
this for a while, Shane.
I know.
A
But
little
it helps.
you.
It does help though to hear it from other sources, and then to notice it trending through other people that, like, other channels like Merkaba Carpet. I just watched the video. I'm like, man, you're saying like all the things that I've been feeling right now too. And so you can see this trend moving through the collective consciousness, the one within the game, collective
Same
consciousness.
message coming out, slightly different words, different
Yeah.
personalities saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But it does say that if the peace is within your grasp, it's in your home and it's in your community, then yes, you can do something. You don't have to look away
Right.
in order to have peace, but you only deal with it within yourself and within your reach.
And
Like,
here's the thing about it. It like can actually trigger you when you watch that stuff to where you don't have the peace within your sphere of influence because you got triggered by something that was without out of your reach. It puts you in a bad
yes,
mood. Then all of a sudden you're quick
yelling
with
at your
somebody.
kids, yeah,
Right.
yelling at your husband and your wife, and you're like,
Right.
you're creating chaos and war in your personal sphere because of what's going on way out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a very good point.
Yeah. So we can't do anything with that stuff, but we certainly cannot let it affect us to where we
Yep,
mess up the things that we are in control of.
exactly. Yeah, great point.
Well, let's watch this video. We're running out of time here.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I'm going to switch it over. And do you want me to share the screen so you can watch it, or do you
Sure.
want to?
If you can,
Okay.
that'd be great. I'd love to see it even without the sound.
Okay.
And I'll
Go
turn my
ahead.
sound off.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to mute too. Oh, yeah, I'll need you to mute because I can't mute you.
I'll go ahead and disappear for this.
There's two schools of thought in India about God. One school of thought is Advaita. They said that how can you define what God is? Everything is one energy, one vibration, so they don't have any special idea of God. Then there's the more dualistic people that have the idea that there's one infinite God called Brahman, and that God is in us and outside of us and in everything. So we're going to be seeing a lot of different images, but remember there's only one God, Brahman or Ishvara. These images are ways for our finite mind to connect with the infinite. One of the artists is called Diane Woodward from Canada. We call her Uma the artist. She's a Shivananda yoga teacher and a friend of mine from Canada. Deva paintings, Deva means quality, or Devi, female, Deva, male. Devi paintings have been in almost like a caste system in India. It's like a family business, and it has been for years. This is the traditional Indian way of painting them. And when Diane Woodward, Uma the artist, did on her first art show in Ottawa called Indian Gods and Goddesses, she actually was, we had riots outside the art center because Indian people didn't want this redheaded, freckled Canadian woman messing with what's been done for centuries in a traditional way. Later on, she gets invited to India to do temple paintings of the gods and goddesses herself. So she really caused a revolution. But I lived in Ottawa when she had her first art show, and the Hindu community was out there, and they had to call the police, and people weren't letting you get in, and all this kind of stuff. It's amazing, how traditional this was. Hanuman is half monkey and half divine, so he's a demigod. But in this story, Rama and Sita are the king and queen of an Indian principality, and they get thrown out of their palace and have to go live in the forest. When they're in the forest, Ravana, a demon, sees how beautiful Sita is. She's supposed to be the most beautiful person in the world, and he decides he wants Sita to be his girlfriend or his wife or something, and he has this devious scheme where he kidnaps her and takes her to his kingdom of Lanka, which would be Sri Lanka off the coast of India. So Rama has to try to find his wife, and it's a whole story. It's a big epic search of how he's going to find his wife. And they finally enlist a tribe of bears and a tribe of monkeys to help them. And Hanuman was assigned to be the helper of Rama. And he was a Indian Superman. So when you look at these movies now that come out in the summer, like of all of these superheroes, they're all based on the powers of Hanuman. He could fly like Superman. He could make himself giant. He could make himself tiny like Ant-Man. He could do all of these different superpower things. This is one of Uma's latest paintings, because there's an Uma at one point in her life, when she was doing all of the animal paintings, went to clean her paintbrushes with some chemical solution. And when she mixed her chemicals wrong, a cloud of smoke came out of her bottle, and it made her blind. And she was blind for 10 days, and she only saw the color white. And we're going to find out a little bit later that for Uma to use the color white is really, really difficult for her. So this is one of the last paintings she did, because Saraswati is always in white. Saraswati, so for Indian people, there's two trinities, a male trinity and a female trinity. And they both have the same three qualities, but on different levels. The three qualities are creation, preservation, and destruction. So we'll be seeing those three qualities in the male and female. And in the male, Brahma is the creator. So when the earth got created, let there be light, and there was light, that's considered Brahma. But he got very egoistic, because he said everything in the world depends on me. And in India, even though there's millions of temples, there's only one Brahma temple, and you very rarely are going to see a picture of Brahma, because he's considered too egoistic in order to worship him. Then Vishnu, who we finished this tour with, holds everything together. He holds the whole world in his hands. Holds the whole world in his hands. He keeps everything balanced, and we're going to talk about him later. And then there is Shiva as Nataraj, the divine destroyer, out with the old and in with the new. And we'll see how that's considered a positive thing in Hinduism. But in the female, the creative aspect is Saraswati. The mantra is Om Aim Saraswati Namaha. Now, she is playing music here, which means that if you create music, art, poetry, song, you're a writer, you continue the original creation of Brahman on this planet. So when it's continued on this planet, it takes earthly energy, and that's the venue of the female. So Saraswati, if you have Saraswati energy and you're always creating stuff, you are just continuing that creative of the divine. So music is creative. Music is also, and we learn that creation is a vibration, a sound. So she's continuing that vibration by playing her veena. Now, in her left hand, she is holding the book of all knowledge. So we have a homa at the beginning of teacher trainings to open people to divine knowledge, and she holds divine knowledge in her hand. So if she's kind of like the patron of teachers, as well as poets and musicians and stuff like that. Now, the most beautiful thing in India is a lotus flower. So we're going to see a lot of lotus flowers, and they also have to do with connection with the knowledge of the divine. So she's standing in a lotus flower. Now, most of the gods and goddesses have a vehicle for them to get around in, and the vehicle is usually an animal. So for Saraswati, for her to get around, she's very graceful. She gets on a swan, and that swan flies and takes her wherever she wants to go. That's called Hamsa. Now, this is an early painting of Uma the artist. Matter of fact, here at our ashram, whenever we chant, we always sing Jaya Ganesha first. This is Ganesha. Ganesha is the remover of obstacles. There's probably 8 Ganesha paintings on this ashram, but this is the first one she did. It's not her best one, but it's the first one. Because when we do our yoga class, we sing Gajananam Bhuta Ganati Sevatam. Bhuta Ganati is another name of Ganesha. So we always want obstacles removed from our spiritual path. And elephant, the trunk of the elephant is really important. The trunk of an elephant is big enough to pick up the heaviest tree limb and throw it aside, but it's also delicate enough to pick up a needle. You know, so this is what we're looking for, to be strong and to be very subtle at the same time. If you want to see Uma, that's what she looks like herself. So this is, again, an early painting. You can tell because it's filled up with rainbows. And down here, this checkerboard stuff, she's got that all over her house. You know, this is one of her ways of filling in space is checkerboard. So it's kind of, but that's the lotus flowers there. Now, again, Uma has come from painting animals. And this lion is really, really pretty cool. A lion is considered the most powerful and wildest of animals. So if we want to overcome our wild animal nature, you want to be like Durga and ride on the lion. So my youngest daughter is called Durga Devi, and at our house, I grew up in a yogic household. My wife and I are both yogis. We're both disciples of Swami Vishnu. And my wife found this really neat thing that in our house, whenever our clock turned to 111, 222, 333, 444, etc., the first one that would notice it would start singing Om Namo Narayana, which is the mantra of our Guru. And then when the clock changed to 112, would stop. So my kids really loved doing that. So for my whole life, but the kids' whole life, from their time they were 2, they'd see the clock go 222, Om Namo Narayana, and they'd always want to be the first one. And my daughter came and did teacher training a couple of years back, and she said, I always thought my mantra would be Om Namo Narayana. But I found out that's not my mantra. And I said, yeah, I know it's not your mantra. And she said, well, what, you know my mantra? And I said, sure. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. And she said, how did you know? I said, because you're the only woman I know that could ride on a tiger, because that's my daughter's energy. It's a very, very strong mantra, very strong mantra. So what happens, there's demons or rakshakas are attacking the planet and trying to have darkness overcome the light. So when these rakshakas are attacking the planet, all of the male devas go out and battle them. But they are getting defeated. But in the old days, it's known that all of the power in this universe is female power. So in those days, the devas were smarter than men today, and they know the only way to change this force of darkness coming in is go to the female. So they went to all of the different devas, the female energies, and said, you have to help us defeat this demon. So there's this story that comes in the time of Navaratri called the Devi Mahatma. That is this amazing battle, and it's gory, with blood and guts and all kinds of killing and stuff like that, where the Devis are fighting against the Rakshakas, the demons. So what happens when the male Devas go to the Devis and say, we really need some help? each of the Devis gave a different gift, and then they kind of like they got together, poof, and out pops Durga on the lion, and she's ready to do battle with the Rakshakas, and of course she wins. And she has 8 arms. Now you're going to notice that the male devas only have 2 or 4 arms, and the female devas have 4 to 8 arms. And if any of you were a mother, you know why? Because 2 arms is not enough to be a mother. Mothers have too much to do. So that's the symbolism of having 4 arms. But she has so much to do to fight the demon. She has 8 arms. Anyone know who this is?
Krishna.
Krishna. So this is Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna means the dark one, so he's always dark blue or even sometimes violet paint. Violet paint. This is again the Leela Rashika. So Krishna represents love, the love of the divine. So joy and love. So he's an open heart guy. But she's brought Krishna right here to the Bahamas with the conch shell and the turquoise water here. So she's brought Krishna right here because he's here. And a neat thing you should know about the symbolism of Krishna is the flute. Now the flute actually represents each and every one of us. You know, Jesus in the New Testament says, empty yourself that I could enter. So Krishna here, the only way that divine music can flow through human beings is if you empty yourself. You have to get rid of your ego. If you can get rid of your ego, then divine music can play through you. So this is the symbolism of Krishna playing the flute and dancing. So he represents love and joy, an aspect of Shiva as the teacher. So Shiva had 5 disciples that he sent around the world to spread the word of yoga. And these are these little guys in dark here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th one's up in his head. And he sent those guys around to spread the word of yoga around. Now, again, this is a middle painting of hers, but I really love the colors in this one. She's still got her rainbows, but I love the colors. The eyes are just amazing in this painting. And it's actually, why it's black is in India, there's actually a murti, which means a statue, made out of a big, giant black onyx rock somewhere. And it's all carved in this shape. So this painting depicts that stone that's there in India. And I think it's Dakshini Murti. We're going to see again, this is Krishna, excuse me, why am I saying Krishna? This is Shiva. He's tap dancing on this imp who is our ego, right? And you're always going to see a few things in Shiva paintings. He's called Chandrika, so his hair is always decorated by the crescent moon. Right here he has a flower on top of the head, usually has dreadlocks, and we'll talk about that when we see some others. He is friend of all creatures, and he's not afraid of snakes, so you're going to see a lot of cobras in different paintings that we're going to see from now on. And he has the dumba. A dumba is like a drum, and it's also like an hourglass. So he's called dumba, 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 which means our life is always ticking down. We have a time limit, dumba, dumba, because again, he's the destroyer. We come and we have a certain time limit, and we're supposed to do whatever we can during that time, and he's always playing this drum. Lakshmi's color is red. She's always sitting in a red or pink lotus. For Indian people, the most beautiful thing in the world is a lotus flower. So if you were to look at a lotus flower or a rose, and that brings you to another state of consciousness, that means that you are sustained by beauty. Beauty is actually a way of connecting you with the divine. On one of Lakshmi's hands, there's always coins coming out. So remember I told you that Lakshmi was the second part of the Trinity, of the female Trinity, which means that everything that we need is provided by the divine. So basically that wherever you need to live, you're going to get it from God. The talk this morning was about that. You don't want to be stealing because things are actually offered to you from the divine. So I'll be in April. I do 2 things in Sedona, Arizona. But there's a man there that you should know about called Swami Shankarananda, the Walking Swami. And his ashram is called Divine Grace Ashram in Cottonwood, Arizona, just beside Sedona. And he was a multi-millionaire high-tech exec that had everything you need. He had a fleet of his own sports cars, his own airplane, his own island, and he was really unhappy. He had all of the riches in the world that he could want. And he actually was thinking of committing suicide. And he walked by, on the way to commit suicide, he walked by the Shivananda Yoga Center in San Francisco, and he saw a sign that said, "Tonight, talk about yoga and science." He knew nothing about yoga, but he was interested in science, so he said he's going to go in. At the end, he came out and said, "Wow, I'm going to become a Swami," because to be a Swami is to give up everything you have in the world. He found out about that. So he wanted to be a Swami. So he talked to Swami Sita Ramananda, who was running the lecture, and said, "I'd like to become a Swami." And she said, "You never even took a yoga class before. How can you be a Swami?" And he went and moved to the ashram in California, and they bugged her, and she still wouldn't make him a Swami. So he goes off to India. He meets a guru in India that initiates him into being a Swami, and he loved it. And he stayed 2 years with his guru. On the way, after 2 years, his guru said, "You're supposed to go back to the West. Go back to the West." And he said, "No, Swami, I want to stay here. I don't want to go back to the West." He said, "You have to go." And he has the vow of obedience, so he had to go. So he gets on the plane to fly back to San Francisco. And he sits down, and he's like squirming in his seat. He said, "This is the most uncomfortable seat I ever sat on." So he stood up to say, "What's wrong with the seat?" And he saw a lump under the cover of the seat, and he picked up the cover of the seat, and there's a book there, and it's called The Peace Pilgrim. And I don't know if you heard of the Peace Pilgrim, but you should know the Peace Pilgrim. The Peace Pilgrim was an American saint that said she never stopped walking till the Vietnam War is over. She walked like something like 200,000 miles during the Vietnam War. And he read that book, and he said, "Oh, I'm supposed to keep the Peace Pilgrim's work going." So what this guy does is he leaves with an 8-ounce bottle of water, plastic water bottle, no ID, no charge card, just the clothes on his back. And he said, "Well, where am I supposed to walk?" They said, "Walk to Miami." So he leaves San Francisco, and he'll just walk for months and months to get to Miami. And all along the way, he meets all of these different people that, give him what he needs. And he just sees God in every one of them. And he said, "Whenever I have any doubt, why am I doing this?" He said, "I know that's my lower mind." And he said, "God is everywhere. God's going to take care of me." So he really believes in this Lakshmi, that everything provides for you. And he's such an inspiring guy that people that meet him on his walk, they go to Arizona like I do. I'm going to be going there in April and again in October to give programs, just to be in his presence. He says things to me like, "Arjuna, the only reason you don't see God is because God is so close to the tip of your nose, you're not able to focus there yet, but one day you will be." So I really believe it. So this is Lakshmi, Swami Shankarananda, the Swami, Walking Swami, Divine Grace Ashram in Arizona.
Beautiful.
So
Thank you so much for sharing that. That was awesome.
Oh, you're welcome. Those were only half of the divas and devis, the aspects of God in the paintings. Did you notice the male-female balance?
Mm-hmm.
And Durga, who saves the world, they're allegories from the demons. The male gods have to go and find Durga, the female god, to go and like save the world and save the divas.
Yeah. It kind of shows how we're out of whack here, huh?
Yeah, and this all predates Abrahamic religions. It's earlier.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that. That was awesome. I learned so much in such a short amount of time.
Thank you. Me too. Me too. I definitely want to go back like once a year to do the cleanse, maybe do the juice fast, like 4 days on vegetables and 4 days on juice.
You can really see how, well, if you think about Shiva being outside of CERN and how it's always looked at as some kind of evil destroyer, but out with the old, in with the new, sort of the renovator of
Yes.
everything.
He was the renovator of energy and matter. And
Right.
you notice that they had the Shiva dance outside of
And we
CERN.
say she, but last week you said it was actually it's a guy, right?
Yes, Shiva,
Shiva.
that there's three male deities in the Trinity, and then there's three female
I'm trying to
um,
remember the
goddesses in
female.
the Trinity. They
I
have
saw you
six.
in the little gift shop. She said it was Shiva and
Probably Shotki,
Shak
Shanti. I don't know.
Shakti, maybe.
Shakti. Thank you. Good memory. But Shiva, they showed a picture in the video of him meditating. Again, he's kind of blue, like Krishna, and
Hmm.
he has the cobra. That's how you identify him. But in front of CERN, he's doing his dance, which is getting rid of the old, shaking it up, and making room for the new, like the phoenix that rises out of the ashes.
Very beautiful.
Yeah, it's kind
So
of
it just goes to show when you don't know, it's a lot of people apply fear to things when you don't know. Fear of the unknown, if you will.
I have to say, all over the ashram, there is statues and pictures of Buddha, Mohammed, Jesus, and Mary. So they're all over. It might be in a little place where you meditate by a little pond. There'll be a statue of Mary and Jesus together or Buddha. And then in all the temples, they have Mohammed and Mary and Jesus in all the temples.
Yeah, that's how it was in at the what did they call it? The Spiritual Life Center or whatever in Sedona, where the that conference was. Had a little meditating area outside with a Buddha out there, and then a little. Yeah, they had everyone was represented. Everyone could feel comfortable there.
Yep, everybody welcome, and no conversions going on. Just enjoying the time, the communal time together to pray together, meditate together, sing together, learn together, and eat together.
Hmm.
Very communal. Lots of picnic tables pushed together.
That's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's really wonderful.
It would make a great place for us to go, except we'd probably want to talk a little bit more than like be
Yeah.
quiet for 2 hours.
And turning off the Wi-Fi, and then everybody goes to sleep at 10 o'clock. That would
Hey,
be
I didn't
hard.
realize. I heard all the refrigeration units, and they sound like they were doing construction. It
Mm-hmm.
probably gets pretty quiet during those 2 hours, doesn't it?
Yes, yes, and very quiet at night. So yeah, anywherever I went, I would hear something. Either that was near the kitchen with the refrigeration. Yep, you got it.
So are they expanding there now? Were they building some new
Yeah, building and
places?
repairing because it's from 1968.
Mm.
And you saw last week's video where the Swami guru, Vishnu Devananda, felt that that was a part of Atlantis when he
Hmm.
was gifted the the part of the island in which to loan. He did a 99-year lease until they bought it. He felt that that coral reef was part of Atlantis that he was standing on and
Is
touching.
it isn't that kind of funny that Atlantis moved in there? The big hotel chain moved right in
That's
on the island.
crazy. Or did they know? Wink,
Right,
wink.
right.
Right? Because they
Yeah.
really tried to push them out and get that little piece of their land too. They wanted the whole island.
Yeah, I'm glad I did the Google Earth view. I don't know if you saw that, but it really added perspective to how it's like this
I did.
section towards the end of the island. It's the section right there,
Tiny little part at the end of the island. Yep.
and those are some gigantic ships, cruise liners there.
Huge.
They look like buildings on the water,
And they
even
were
from
parked
Google
four,
Maps.
like wide. There'd be four right next to each other,
It's like a city.
like a city of ships.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Citizen ship. And berth. You dock your boat at the berth. You berth.
Right,
What's the berth? That's where you dock your boat. And when
right,
you're born in your citizenship, you get a birth certificate, which is a document. So funny.
right.
It's all related.
Yeah, it is. Especially when you get into the whole the sea and just
Maritime law.
currency, and all that stuff.
Going to the
Yeah,
bank. You go to
yeah,
the bank, the river bank, where
yeah.
the money flows.
Right.
Mm.
It's all
you
right there, hidden in plain sight, isn't it?
all. And I can't go into it now because the show will get way too long. But did you see that the black Shiva was doing this?
No, I didn't notice.
Yeah, and you know how we say this is Illuminati, devil, or rock and roll, or is that rock and roll? I don't know. This is ancient, and it goes back to astrology when each finger represents a different planet, and
Hmm.
when you get like a conjunction of, say, Jupiter and Saturn, you have ultimate power because Saturn is the destroyer, right? Chronos of time, and
Hmm.
Jupiter is the expansion, the builder, which would be like
Mm.
Brahma or Vishnu. So these signs really predate Lucifer. They
Oh
predate
yeah,
Luciferianism. They go way back and have to do with planets.
yeah,
So, there's Shiva giving everybody the, Jupiter, Saturn, Sun. I'm not even sure which one's Jupiter and Saturn, but I'm just saying, I need to look it up and see exactly what planets those are on
yeah.
those.
Because when you look into anything and you can see almost anything at all has been hijacked, you
Yeah,
know, and
the
repurposed.
swastika.
So you got the people doing this, making the
Yeah,
triangle,
that's
and
a
it
that's a
goes.
powerful sign too, and it's a
Yeah,
safe one.
right.
Even this, when you meditate, you don't do this, like you do
Mm-hmm.
this. You do the 666 sign when you meditate in Hinduism. So that's a power sign. That's actually something that you do to protect and ground your energy.
Yeah,
Hijacked,
hijacked. But
hijacked.
if you look a little bit deeper,
Even
but
our
that's
rainbow's been
that's
hijacked, but we're taking it all back. We're
right.
taking all of that back and seeing the good in it.
Yeah, I use it all. I use the rainbow still. I use the all-seeing
Pyramid.
eye and the pyramid and all that because if you look deeper, there's a deeper meaning, and everything tries to get taken and repurposed. But I refuse to stop using something because someone uses it in the wrong way. So
And in a way, we're promoting it as a positive
yeah.
symbol. So we're kind of taking the eraser and erasing the negative association with it when we do
Hmm.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good
and you
thing.
can. Yeah, and you can even look at it when they're using it. Oh, you're using it in a positive way.
Exactly. And they'll be like, "Grr, they're using it in a positive way.
Thanks for spreading the good message.
Exactly. Exactly. So
Okay, so
I've got a pre-recorded solar plexus sun meditation. It sounds
okay,
like I'm live, and it's just because of my throat right now. You don't
no
really want to
problem.
meditate for people when you're feeling not well.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to that then, and let's see, what are we in here?
I'm going to
Okay,
do it
yeah,
with you guys. I love it when I get to do meditations with you guys.
I know, right? Okay, so
I
that's
get to
awesome.
join in.
It'll be different for you this time.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen again.
And I will disappear and put my mic on silent.
Alrighty. No, I guess I got to mute my own here.
So don't do this, guys, while you're driving or walking or handling dangerous equipment or driving a tractor, whatever. Um, get comfortable. Close your eyes if you like. Okay, move around. Make sure that you've got nothing stiff, nothing uncomfortable, nothing that's gonna take you out of your meditative state. And just start by taking a relaxing, deep breath in. Let that fill up your lungs to capacity. Exhale it out. Breathe in again, deeply, hold it. And when you're ready, just exhale out any tension anywhere in your body. And take a third really deep, relaxing breath in. Feel it filling you up and relaxing all of your muscles from the top of your head, down your torso, down your legs, your arms, your fingers, into your feet on the exhale. And now we're going to start to breathe in through our solar plexus. You know how we usually do the heart math breathing in through our hearts? We're going to move that down to about 1 to 2 inches above your belly button. Go ahead and breathe in through the solar plexus chakra and exhale through the same belly button center. Breathe in a comfortable pace and breathe out. And when you're ready, start to imagine a beautiful Clear, clean, yellow or golden light coming in through your solar plexus chakra and out of your solar plexus belly button area. And now you can imagine that light coming directly from the sun, the yellow sun that you may remember from not too long ago, or you might be seeing it again instead of the white sun. Breathe that light directly in from the sun through your solar plexus and let it fill up your middle this time and breathe it out. Now would be a good time to send down a grounding cord from your root chakra down to the center of the earth, if you already haven't done so, down through all the different layers, down to the center where it spreads out in all directions, rooting you, grounding you like a tree. And continue breathing that beautiful, clear, clean, yellow, golden light in from the sun. And this time, let it go in your solar plexus, go up your chakras, and shoot it out the top of your head. And exhale. And on the next breath in, imagine that golden light coming in from the sun, in through your solar plexus, going down through all of your chakras, and shoot it down your grounding cord into the center of the earth. And now this one's going to get fun. Imagine drawing in that beautiful, clear, crystalline, healing, golden yellow light in through your solar plexus chakra and shoot it up and down all of your chakras at the same time, and let it just go out the top of your head and down your grounding cord. And if you can continue to do that at a pace that's comfortable for you, as you're doing it, imagine that golden light healing all your chakras, clearing all your chakras, balancing all of your chakra points and energy centers in the body. And then finally imagine it energizing all of the chakra points in your body, from your root chakra at the base of your spine, which is usually red, to your sacral chakra, which is usually orange, to your solar plexus chakra just around your navel, which is yellow like the sun, which is why it's called solar chakra, solar plexus, because you're always drawing in energy, magnetic energy and electrical energy, plasma from the sun at all times, even when it's dark outside. You can do this meditation at night before you go to bed, and you can still draw in the amazing energies from the sun, whether it's daylight or dark outside. And imagine that solar sun coming in and actually going up into your chest and healing and clearing and cleaning your heart center, which is usually green, and rising up even more into your throat, to your throat chakra center, which is usually blue, and going up further still to your third eye pineal gland or Anja chakra center, which is usually indigo, and indigo is between blue and purple. And finally going up to your head chakra, about an inch off the top of your head in the center of your head, which in many cultures is purple, like an amethyst, and in some cultures is white, bright white light. So we're going to go silent for just 3 minutes and just continue to breathe in the beautiful, clear, clean, healing, magnetic rays of the sun. Breathe that yellow color in and let it move around into your body, healing, clearing, cleaning, energizing, and balancing, especially any areas that you particularly would like that energy to work on, a certain part of your body maybe. And we'll go silent and do that for 3 minutes. And now, before you release your grounding cord into the center of the earth where it will just disappear, imagine any excess energy that you do not need from that golden, yellow, clear, clean, healing light, just leaving your body through the top of your head, down your fingers, down your toes, and down your grounding cord, so that you are completely in balance now and operating, living, breathing, feeling, and being at your optimal level.
All right. Beautiful.
Got to listen on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
A bit of a delay.
It is. It's like, I don't know, 15 seconds or something.
Yeah, it's like finishing.
But it was good. It was good to revisit that one. I'm glad we did that.
Thank you. I love that one. I love doing the solar plexus and the sun, the solar energy.
Yeah, I found that interesting about we're the ones sort of drawing the light in from the sun. That's sort of encouraging, isn't it? I wasn't expecting that answer.
That was new for me. That was new information.
Yeah. Because I thought for sure it was from moving through, that galactic plane. And I mean, it all made sense.
Yeah, just high photonic space.
Yeah. So be encouraged. Be encouraged, guys, that you see the sun getting brighter. We're actually pulling it in. It's going to get brighter and brighter. And this whole idea of a solar flash, it's really happening, but it's...
We're the solar flash.
We're the solar flash. That's
Together.
Awesome. Yay! All right, so we'll be back to our regular show next week.
Yep. Produced videos and live meditation. Thank you so much for letting me share this experience with you guys.
Oh, thank you so much for taking the time to do that. It was great.
I loved it.
It was awesome.
I was having you in my pocket.
Yes, that meditation is actually on Eileen's YouTube channel.
Little channel. Yeah.
So for anybody watching this later, or maybe you're new to the channel, definitely want to check out Eileen's link down in the description below. Check out her channel and subscribe.
I do a little free power up too, if you guys like to be powered up before you do your own meditations.
Yep, and
it's free, so that doesn't disturb you. And did we get to put Arjuna's information for his Sedona walk? They're doing a yogi walk with a Swami.
Is that the Facebook link you sent?
Yeah, that's
okay. Yeah, I do have that. Yeah, I've got the for anybody wanting more information for the Shivananda Ashram in the Bahamas. Wonderful. I have that link below.
Yep.
And then underneath that, we have Arjuna's upcoming events Facebook page.
Yeah.
In Sedona. So yeah, we got people in Sedona, so maybe they'll want to check that out. So
and do the Swami yogi walk.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Eileen, and thank you guys for being here. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace. Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.